Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lance Murdoch, Combat Sports MC. Welcome to Stockholm, Sweden for Brave CF38 in association with Bulldog Fight Night. Tonight's sponsors are Abu Dhabi Sport, Aftonbladet and Greenhill. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, our European invasion continues. Without any further ado, let's get down to business. In our first contest of the evening, an amateur welterweight bout, allow me to introduce first of all to the blue corner, Ola Jacobsson.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to Brave Combat Federation 38 in partnership with Bulldog Fight Night. My name is Phil Campbell. I am your commentator for the night, joined by the voice of Swedish mixed martial arts, Mr. Sebastian Vendel Martinez. Sebastian, how are you, sir?
Oh, I am hyped for our second go here, second Brave show in Sweden. The last one was, I think you can only call it a success. We had a night of fantastic fights.
For sure.
And I think we're due for another one here tonight as well.
Let's dive straight into this fight. We have Ola Kinky Jacobsson, an orthodox fighter, 21 years old, 5'11", with an amateur record of 4 wins and 4 losses. In his last fight, he defeated Nick Fringe via second round triangle, a very, very dangerous submission specialist.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's an outspoken guy too.
And next, allow me to introduce his opponent into the red corner, Rahmads Stromanis.
And here we have his opponent, Rahmads Stromanis, a real talented guy here. He is actually coming off of his first loss as an amateur, and it was, unfortunately for him, a brutal KO loss, which really halted his momentum a little bit because he was just on a tear. I saw his fight before that where he derailed the hype train of Theodore Berggren, who a lot of people thought was one of the big upcoming prospects, and Stromanis just steamrolled him completely. So it's good. An interesting question here is, how is he going to bounce back from that loss?
An interesting fact about Rahmads, a former competitive canoeing athlete, multiple-time Latvian national champion, and has competed at European and World Championship level. So let's hope he's not up a creek without a paddle tonight, Sebastian.
Well, he might find himself in deep waters.
As we said, a high-paced pressure fighter. Very good cardio, very strong.
Absolutely, and he just smothers his opponents. I mean, you do not want him in top position if you're going to bottom. He has hellacious ground and pound, and he's just incredibly physically strong. He has a tendency to just ragdoll his opponents, which is what he did against Berggren.
He will need to be dangerous with those, or be careful with those takedowns against a very savvy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt and Ola Jacobsson.
Sanctioned by the Swedish MMA Federation, Bulldog Fight Night and Brave CF brings to you 3-minute rounds of amateur mixed martial arts in this welterweight bout. Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Halmstad, Sweden, standing at 181 centimeters tall, weighing in at 75.2 kilograms with an amateur record of 4 wins and 4 losses, Ola Kinky Jacobsson! Across the cage, his opponent stands in the red corner, fighting out of Sweden by way of Latvia, standing at 177 centimeters tall, weighing in at 76 kilograms with an amateur record of 4 wins and 1 loss, Rahmads Stromanis! Our referee in charge of the action is Madeline Fagerlind. Let's get down to business.
First fight of the night underway. Lance Murdoch, thank you for that introduction. Both these young, hungry amateurs are ready to go, Sebastian.
Yeah, they are, and this should be an exciting one, reffed by the experienced Madeleine Fagerlind. And you may be wondering, wait, Ola Kinky Jacobsson? What is that nickname about? And well, to put it shortly, in daycare he had a habit of playing around with undressed Barbie dolls, and the name kind of stuck since then. His parents actually even like the nickname.
No playing around here in the cage for these men. Stromanis right in on the clinch, trying to establish the underhooks, but a beautiful knee to the body there from Jacobsson. Keeping a nice high guard.
Hard
Big shots, yeah, Sebastian.
That's the power of Stromanis, but very nicely fired back by Jacobsson.
I like the way that Jacobsson's rolling after throwing that straight. He's getting his head off the center line, and there's the shot. Big, heavy sprawl from Stromanis.
That's the thing. I mean, Stromanis is a very strong wrestler, and you can't take your shots too lightly. You've really got to set him up properly.
And something we see a lot in mixed martial arts is somebody from a wrestling background, they find out that that power is transferable into the hands, so they can throw big, heavy shots.
And they can do so with confidence, because with that wrestling background, they're not necessarily scared of being taken down. I like that short uppercut there from Jacobsson we saw just now.
Very clean. He needs to vary up. He's rolling well after throwing the straight, but he needs to vary up. If he keeps rolling to the same direction, he could leave himself liable to the likes of a head kick.
Yeah. And he slipped the attacker from Stromanis, almost like a matador avoiding the bull there.
Of course, this is three-minute rounds of amateur action. Both these gentlemen wearing shin guards, wearing the slightly bigger gloves. No elbows and no knees to the head permitted.
And an interesting fact, I mean, Ola Jacobsson, he's here with his older brother, David Jacobsson, who we'll see later on tonight, and his teammate, Robert Nyström. They actually have a bet going on, a tattoo bet.
Oh, he might have been rocked a little bit there.
He looked a little bit dazed, and he still does. Oh, hard 1-2 there from Stromanis.
Just exactly as we said in the opener. Stromanis charging forward, high pressure, constant output, trying to land that one-quitter header shot.
Oh, heavy shots here. I mean, Jacobsson is out on thin ice right now. He's got to collect himself.
You may see Jacobsson shoot here just to alleviate that heavy pressure. He needs to circle off. He needs to get out of the way.
Yeah, you cannot get stuck against the cage with someone like Stromanis. I mean, he is going to make you pay for it.
But a hallmark I've noticed of Jacobsson's fight is he's willing to take a lot of damage just because he has this ability to snap on a submission from all kinds of directions. So you're never really safe. You're never really comfortable with somebody like Jacobsson.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both him and his brother have kind of similar styles, where it's like you cannot sleep on their striking just because their grappling is so slick. Oh, see, that was a very nice right hand there, landed from Jacobsson.
Again, landing the straight and rolling every time. Again, huge. Everything he throws is with bad intention, Sebastian.
There's just so much conviction behind his strikes. I mean, he definitely seems to have bounced back from that previous loss in the best possible way. He looks great here tonight.
Yeah, we say it quite often. A mark of a fighter is not what he's like when he's 4-0, when he's undefeated, when he's on that winning streak. It's really about what he does after the first loss of his career, how he bounces back, what adjustments he makes. That's the figure. That's the mark of a fighter.
Absolutely, and from what we've seen so far, I think Stromanis definitely can return on his path to greatness.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Defends the takedown beautifully here and just charging forward like an absolute marauder. I think it would be fair to say that Stromanis got the better of those striking exchanges.
Yeah, I feel so too, landing a little bit more and a little bit harder. He also did a very nice job at defending the takedowns from Jacobsson. So I'd say this is, he's definitely up one round as Stromanis right now.
So if you're in the corner of Jacobsson, what are you telling him right now?
Well, I would like to see a little bit, I mean, like you alluded to with getting off the center line, I would like to see a little bit more variety in his strikes. He threw one body kick before, which I thought was very nice. I'd like to see a little bit more of that, maybe some leg kicks, because, I mean, I feel his striking is, it's pretty good. He is landing a lot of good shots, but I think if he mixes it up a little bit, moves around a little bit, or uses movement a little bit more laterally, I think he could definitely crank it up,
so,
catch Stromanis off guard, and then probably take him down.
So essentially a little bit more diversity from young Jacobsson. He's working that jab. That's a nice one too. Landed crisp. Rolls out of the way.
It definitely looks fresher now. And I mean, sometimes you just need to clear the cobwebs a bit. I mean, you might want to just, sacrifice that one round so that you can collect yourself and then come back stronger.
Changing levels well. There's a shot landed. Both these men biting down on the mouthpiece a little bit. I'd like to see Jacobsson get his back off that cage because he's essentially inviting the shot there.
Yeah, and he's landing against the cage far too often, in my opinion. A little too comfortable backing up there.
But when you have that purple belt jiu-jitsu, you're not adverse to being taken down and working off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely, but you cannot get too comfortable either because, I mean, as I mentioned before, Stromanis is a killer in top position. I mean, admittedly, I don't think... we almost saw a little trip there from Stromanis, from Jacobsson. Didn't really materialize. But he's covering up and he's not necessarily getting out of harm's way as much as I would like to see.
It's not entirely dissimilar to his last fight against Nick Fridge in Scotland, where he absorbed a lot of damage and came back to win in the second round.
these guys are just throwing with reckless abandon. As the way we're fighting right now, I don't think we're going to see the judges' scorecard.
Oh, huge uppercut, and then over the top from Stromanis.
Keep the guard tight. Guard.
And it's a testament to the chin of Ola Jacobsson because, I mean, Stromanis just has so much power in his strikes. You can see him, you can feel them from here.
The first real leg kick thrown with any intent in this fight. Halfway in the second round.
So far, we've seen some very nice front kicks from Stromanis that have landed flush in the stomach of Ola Jacobsson. I like that variety.
It seems to be that Jacobsson is landing most of these strikes on the back foot.
No wrestling.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having that counter-fighting style, but, you know, if you're eating a lot of shots in the process, it can be counterintuitive.
And interestingly, that's a big shot. Momentarily wobbled Jacobsson. And interestingly, though, you can hear the corner of Stromanis asking him not to engage in the wrestling, to keep standing. Oh, that's another big shot.
There.
He's got him on wobbly legs. Forces the shot. You may see a trip takedown, but a little bit of fatigue perhaps creeping in.
But also just the takedown defense is just so good from Stromanis, and he is hunting him down right now.
Needs to be wary of a beautiful counter hook. Needs to be wary of dropping the hands a little bit. He can't get reckless in there. Superman punch. Oh, you can definitely tell that he has gone away, worked on any discrepancies in his game, and come back hungrier, stronger, a better version of the fighter we saw last time.
Absolutely. I feel like we truly are seeing a much improved Rahmads Stromanis here. I mean, he's still got as much power, but it's just harnessed so much more effectively.
And he looks so calm. He doesn't look phased in there. He's taking his breaths. He's nice and chilled out. He's listening to his corner. As soon as his corner told him to disengage from the clinch, he did so and landed strikes at will.
Yeah, I like what we're seeing here from Stromanis. And he's smiling here as his coach is talking to him. Great stuff. And here's some of the action-heavy shots here from Rahmads Stromanis.
There's that Superman punch, and then just lands lefts and rights. The way we're looking at this fight at the moment, for realistically and in all reality, Jacobsson needs to go in there and get a finish in order to win this fight, because the pressure that's been put on him, conceivably, if you're watching this as we are, he's down 2 rounds. Exactly. So he needs to go in there, make something happen. Perhaps he needs to chase the action a little bit.
I think so. He's been a little too defensive, a little too reactive as opposed to proactive. If he can sort of just lead the dance a little bit more, I think he'll have a lot more success. Of course, that's easier said than done when you're facing a tank of a man like Rahmads Stromanis.
Third and final round. Let's see if the impetus lies with Jacobsson in this fight going forward.
Smile from both gentlemen heading in there. Touch of gloves.
Again, those shots are huge. Jacobsson seems to be countering in single shots. I'd like to see him up that frequency ever so slightly. Perhaps put straight behind that counter jab. Big takedown.
Takedown, finally.
Can he keep him down? Taking position before submission, trying to get that wrist grip. But Stromanis turns it into a takedown of his own.
There you have that strong wrestling base of Stromanis.
Jacobsson trying to dig in for the switch.
Watch the arm. Watch the arm.
Needs to be wary of the Kimura. You can see Jacobsson diving in on that, fake the switch and curl in for that Kimura. He has the grip on it. Has to be wary of giving up his back, but that figure 4 grip for the Kimura. Can he get the guard closed? Can he muster enough energy? Let's go with the figure 4 momentarily.
Just over 2 minutes to work, and he's got to get this. He's got to get the submission if he's gonna or get a finish soon. It's looking like
may transition to the armbar.
Yeah.
But that's what we said. He's so dangerous in these kinds of positions.
And I'm starting to wonder if he's maybe played a bit of a trick on us, if he was maybe playing possum a bit to get away some more strikes. Because he does have a tattoo bet with his brother and teammate for who can get the most strikes in their fight.
He is trying to work for that armbar. Can he get full extension on it? Oh, he's got him wound down.
That might have been a mistake from Stromanis going for that strike.
He may step up into it. He needs to be careful of stepping up into a triangle. Nice work from Stromanis to avoid the submission.
Very nicely done.
And look how active the hips are of Jacobsson. Oh, these hips don't lie at all. Good posture, but he looks like he momentarily needs to be careful not to find himself in no man's land and sink into that triangle. Just over a minute left.
And this is what I mean about that on-top grappling style of Stromanis. I mean, he really does make you pay, even perhaps to a fault.
Again, good work from Stromanis there. Very intelligent mixed martial arts to stand up out of that dangerous guard. And was that perhaps the last fleeting chance for Jacobsson to get a finish in the fight?
I think so. Less than a minute to work now. I have a hard time seeing him getting a stoppage via strikes.
Oh, that's an air-sapping front kick from Stromanis.
And he's still retaining so much power even though we're in the final round.
And just brushes off that single leg attempt.
Interesting there, but he just sort of let him off the hook like that.
I think again, working the body, then going up top. This is a really polished performance from Stromanis.
Absolutely. Probably the best we've ever seen him. And a testament to his team, Academy, who have been doing really well. We'll see his teammate, Malin Rahmads, later on tonight as well.
I would love to see if there was some sort of count for...
Oh, wait. Jacobsson just rocked.
Oh, one big shot to finish. What a war. Congratulations, both men. Jacobsson for staying in and absorbing that kind of punishment. Stromanis for taking the fight to him and looking like a considerably more evolved fighter, Sebastian.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like we talked about before. How can you bounce back from adversity? And he showed that he truly can in the best possible way. Both fighters, the chin of Ola Jacobsson is definitely something to mention as well.
And you can see this is the third round where they had that little tussle on the ground. Jacobsson very, very close with the armbar, had the position. Jacobsson done everything he could Stromanis done everything he could to work out of that intelligently. And then just fires off hands to finish, putting a real exclamation point on this fight.
Absolutely, and I think both fighters showed a lot here. I mean, while Stromanis is going to be the one who comes out on top, I mean, you can see why a lot of people are talking about Ola Jacobsson. He's got an exciting style, he can take a shot, and once he's on the ground, he's pretty lethal as well.
Yeah, and only 21 years of age. There's so much scope there for development. And well, for the first time tonight, let's send it up to our MC, Mr. Lance Murdoch, for the official decision.
What an awesome way to kick off the action here tonight in Stockholm, Sweden, ladies and gentlemen. After 3 rounds of non-stop action, we consult the judges' scorecards. I can tell you it is a unanimous decision. To the red corner, Rahmads Stromanis.
No real surprise there. Rahmads Stromanis pulls off the unanimous decision victory and returns to the win column with a very strong performance. I'll tell you, I'm already excited for seeing him in the cage again.
He moves his amateur record to 5-1. Fantastic display of well-rounded mixed martial arts fighting, and interestingly, didn't engage in the wrestling as we predicted.
Yeah.
Didn't fall back on his real strength. So obviously, he's diligently been working on his striking, working fantastically on his boxing, and we saw the fruits of that tonight, Sebastian.
Absolutely, and I think that might be an even bigger moral victory as well, to come back from a knockout loss with such sharp striking.
Well, let's keep this train rolling by sending it up to Lance Murdoch for our next bout.
Let's get straight back to